Things you didn't know you needed to know about nature. Part 1. Female bees have the ability to determine whether or not the egg they're laying is a female or a male. This is known as being haplodiploidy. And this isn't only for, let's say, a European honeybee hive, where there's one singular queen bee. Now, honeybees are not native to North America, and the 4,000 species that are native to North America, the majority of those are solitary. And actually, the majority of the 20,000 species of bees that we know of across the world are solitary. And that means they live by themselves, and they do not cooperate labor. That also means that each female solitary bee is her own queen. And she has the ability to determine the sex of her offspring. So what a solitary bee does is, whether they're finding a wooden structure to live in that already has a hole in it, and about 30% of bees live inside holes in already kind of dead wood that have been bored inside by beetle larvae that make holes that are very similar to the holes you see in these kind of like bee cabins. We'll get back to that in a second. However, the other 70% of bees actually live in holes in the ground, but they all live in very similar kind of tunnel structures. And that's what this is. This is pretty much like a big crosshatch of what's going on inside one of these houses. So what will happen is the bee will fly off, she'll gather a ball of pollen, she'll come back, lay the pollen down, lay an egg on top, and make a little room for it. If she's a mason bee, she uses mud, dirt, and rocks like a mason. If she's a leafcutter bee, she uses leaves. Now, this is where the part of determining the sex of her offspring is so important. So in a native bee nest, what the female bee is going to do is she is going to put all the females at the back of the nest and all the males at the front. So literally when she is there and she is determining that this is going to be a female, she just gives it some chromosome. She's like, you get a chromosome and you get a chromosome and you get a chromosome. And fertilized eggs become females, unfertilized eggs say males. So that is how they are able to be haplodiploidy. Now she'll put all the males in the front. She does this for 2 reasons. The first reason is that in the spring, the males can be the first out of their nest to be ready to mate with females from another nest. The other reason is actually so if a predator tries to come along, they can usually only get inside one of these holes, like the first or second hole, maybe. So those 2 males really just become sacrificial males. Which brings me back to these man-made houses. Now, if these man-made houses are not at least 6 inches deep, you're actually giving the female bee a place where she is worried about the depth, and she is only going to lay more of those male bees instead of more female bees. Hope you enjoyed that thing you didn't know you needed to know about nature, and that you'll pay a little bit more close attention to the 4,000 species of native bees and the tons of other pollinators around you, which is a great way to celebrate Pollinator Week, which is this week. Anyways, have a great day.